They show their influence in the time that they were playing.
Yeah.
And on a side note, I just remembered this. Speaking of the 60s and 70s comic books, you said that Fantastic Four would have been a period piece in the
Yeah,
60s.
that's what it was going to be originally, I think.
I can't tell you how much better a movie it would have been if it was placed in the 60s.
Well, I don't know if the Roger Corman movie was kind of like that, but
No, no, Roger Corman was early 90s crap.
yeah,
Oh my god, one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But
it can't be
that's what
tough.
happens when you hire Roger Corman to do anything. What do you expect besides camp?
It's
But seriously, a serious 60s period piece of the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, I think that would have been an excellent way to do it.
and I think that we're going to get the director who directed that chick flick Down with Love, which was like a period piece movie. It's the one with Renice was it the one with Ewan McGregor, that dude.
Right,
That
right.
period piece movie was like a chick flick.
I never saw it personally.
Yeah, well,
but,
I mean, well, I've seen the trailer before, but
and that brings up another point. Do you notice that studios look for directors that have already done similar work?
well, they have some like idea or like background.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that one director did a period piece, so they wanted him to do another period piece. People with the background of
Yeah.
the
I mean,
similar
that's
to
the
the
way
movie they
studios
want to
see
do.
it. Yeah.
I think that's a mistake. I mean, it's good in the fact they get more experience in that kind of movie, but I think it's bad because you're missing out on a new approach. Like, what if they hadn't hired Sam Raimi to do the Spider-Mans? Like, he really had no prior experience.
Well, originally James Cameron was going to do it.
Right.
And
But, and James Cameron would have been a better fit by that kind of standard because he's done more blockbuster, larger budget movies.
yeah.
But see what happens when you took a risk with the smaller guy or the guy who
Well,
didn't
it
take
still
the
worked.
normal
I mean,
path. No, I'm saying that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's much better because they gave someone else
Yeah.
with no background previously in that sort of movie a chance. And
Yeah.
look, he made one of the largest grossing films of all time.
yeah. Okay. In the interview with Thomas Hayden Church, he was asked, "Do you have any advice or any suggestions of every actor should know before signing on to a superhero film?" And now that you've done one, and when I was reading this, I liked it. It was a good quote. He says, "They're definitely very what's that?
Physically rigorous.
Physically rigorous. The time commitment to them probably will surpass anything that you've done, unless you've done like a big extravagant war picture. The FX work is where you really log a lot of time. Hours flow into days, flow into weeks. The other thing is that always look to the heart of the character, because no matter how big the movie, and whether it's comic book driven or graphic novel driven, or even if it's a western, whatever the larger was that word canvas is, however outsized it may be, it's where it all starts, and ultimately that says where it ends. And that's the thing about Sandman / Flint Marko. It starts and stops with the heart of the character. It really does.
Again, I understand what they're saying about, making it character driven with all
Yeah,
these
yeah, you have to
extraordinary
like
powers.
focus on the human elements of it, not just the big over.
But until I see the movie, I'm not drawn, even to his human side.
Yeah.
I find the fact that Spider-Man didn't find the original killer in the first movie kind of
Well, he did find it, but then he
underscoring like the rest of the series. To have this new revelation seems a little bit
no, that's kind
too
of like
much to me.
no, I think that they're just like misleading, but like they're trying to mislead from the trailers that like, oh, this is Uncle Ben's actual killer, and
I just hope that they don't have him be like the boss of the guy that killed him, and that's how they draw you into the script, because I think that's what they're gonna go with.
yeah,
And
well,
I'm not crazy about
yeah,
that.
well, Sam Raimi kind of or somebody, that when they were at Comic-Con, mentioning like oh, it links up to the other movies, like the movies like sequels have to like link to each other.
Right. But again, I find this all to be just a awkward attempt to fit the Sandman into a script that's only meant for the Green Goblin and Venom.
Yeah. Yeah, and he also says that his storyline doesn't really link with the others, I mean, like the Venom storyline and the Sandman storyline don't intersect.
Well, then what are they doing in the same movie?
Uh,
Seriously.
okay, let's get on to the next highlight. Yeah, just a little trivia here. Actually, Thomas Hayden Church was supposed to get a spot on In Living Color, but it went to Jim Carrey. And he says, well, I'm just going to read the short part of it. He says, Jim Carrey was already established as a comedian, and he was also on 21 Jump Street with Johnny Depp. So, and he asked the question in the last question of the interview. He said, asks, it was making a huge movie like Spider-Man 3, which will compete against Depp's third Pirates film over the summer, and all you expected from a blockbuster project. And this is the part that I highlighted. A massively successful superhero franchise. I mean, I think that it starts with the storytelling, compelling characters, compelling story, and a lot of action that is believable, and the audience is left to judge for themselves.
I find that quote a little misleading, just in the fact that it's really not believable, but you suspend your disbelief
Suspension,
when going in.
yeah.
But otherwise, I agree. I mean, it is character-driven, it is story-driven. I mean, and I applaud the fact that they've made the focus Spider-Man for these 3 films, and not the villains, which is what Batman did
Yeah, and that was
in
the
the earlier
mistake.
films, and that was a mistake. They've kept Spider-Man the key character in
Yeah.
all 3 films, and I think that's like the strength of Sam Raimi right there. That's a successful series of superhero or any movies, keeping that main character the main character.
Yeah, when Sam Raimi went in to get the job, he explained to the executives that he liked things Stan Lee. He liked the human aspects of it, of Peter Parker. He went in. So for okay, let's get on to the next highlight. The article about Topher Grace. They talk about his career, but the part that highlights is when Tobey Maguire was talking about it. He said he thinks that the chemistry and the rivalry between Eddie Brock and Peter Parker in this film is fantastic. It's just the way it was written and the way that Grace portrayed to the character was just great, because it's a lot of fun, and there's definitely a rivalry, and it gets scarier and dangerous at some point. And I think that the dynamics of that relationship was really interesting and fun. So,
Good. Well, I mean, just like in the comic book,
yeah,
or
I mean,
the
there was
cartoon or anything else.
Yeah, there is going to be the rivalry there. So
Without that rivalry, there really is no Venom.
yeah, I mean that's the kicking.
I think the uniqueness of that villain is the hatred of Peter Parker and the hatred of Spider-Man, and it kind of stems from the hatred of Peter, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Like with the Green Goblin, he hated Spider-Man, and then when he found out it was Peter, hated Peter. With this, it's kind of born the other direction. It's born like, I hate the person of Peter Parker. Now I hate Spider-Man.
And the symbiotes,
Right. Amplified, of course, by the symbiote.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to more highlights. Okay, here's the big one. The last article in the Spider-Man 3 special report is Another One Bites the Dust. And this is like the overall speculation of who's going to die